RSK was born in 2015 in Argentina. It's a beautiful and quite desperate country because it's often called the granary of the world, and it's huge and it's naturally rich. Nevertheless, 46% of its population is under the poverty line, and the country has been suffering political, economical, and institutional instability and abuses for decades. So, you know, the tragedy of coercive measures and corruption and impunity is that progressively people lose faith in all the institutions, trust only themselves, and feel abandoned. So when the founders of RSK realized the potential of blockchain, its promise of sovereignty and disintermediation, they knew their project would be a success, not only in Argentina, but in all countries suffering the same issues. So to trust the technology, in this context, you know, to trust the technology is way better than to trust institutions that fail to protect and include the vulnerable populations. And in this sense, it's amazing that we're building a global system. It's the opportunity to have global regulations and free millions of people from arbitrary and coercive intervention. And in that sense, it worried me a bit this morning to listen to that every country is thinking about its own regulations. And I think we're missing the point of and the opportunity of global regulation. So does this mean that at IOB Labs we ignore the risks of DeFi and this new financial model? No. As a matter of fact, our board members and our legal team are very active in the international think tanks on this aspect, but we know for sure that the current financial system, at least in Latin America and in many countries, fails to solve the very issues that are raised about DeFi. I mean, abuses, volatility, market manipulations, money laundering, tax evasion are not quite solved by the current system. And this system is extremely exclusive for the vulnerable populations. So next slide, please. So what have we built? We've built a first-class non-permission blockchain secured by Bitcoin, fast, scalable, with low transaction fees, and interoperable with Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, and more interoperability to come. On top of RSK, we built a decentralized cloud computing platform to make it extremely easy for developers to build any application on our decentralized technology. Next slide, please. Many solutions are built on RSK, but I'll focus on DeFi solutions, and I'll invite you to visit our website, our RSK website, so you'll discover our growing ecosystem in detail. Maybe we can click 1 second, Jean-Marc, on the link. Let's see if you can see. So, you know, here, if you scroll down, you see, if you scroll down the page, you see the map of all our ecosystem solutions, or wallets, asset swaps, you know, lending services, stable coins, oracles, staking, leverage and trading, and so on. If you scroll down, you'll see that on the website, you'll find all the information. You can click on all the services and tools and be redirected to the web pages and then learn everything about our partners. And then you can have information on the performance of our platform. So going back to the presentation, please, and next slide. So I'd like to give you a quick overview of our alignment with the SDGs. Actually, with the financial empowerment team, we're going further than these goals, but these are the main goals that we are following. So while pursuing our mission to provide universal access to a new global economy, we follow the first goal, no poverty, and we help reach 3 targets. While ensuring that the poor and the vulnerable have equal rights to economic resources as well as access to basic financial services, new technology, including microfinance. We're also building the resilience of the poor and those in vulnerable situations and reducing their exposure to economic instability. And we're ensuring significant mobilization of resources from a variety of sources that were not accessible to vulnerable populations. Thanks to the properties of our solutions, we work on goal 9 and participate to 2 targets: develop quality, reliable, sustainable, and resilient infrastructures, including regional and transborder infrastructures to support economic development and human well-being, with a focus on affordable and equitable access for all, and also increasing the access of small-scale industrial and other enterprise, in particular in developing countries, to financial services, including affordable credit and their integration into value chains and markets. Thanks to our low transaction fees, we have fulfilling the target 10A of goal 10, reduced inequalities. We're having a transaction fee average of 15 cents. So we're from $10 to $15 transaction, we're below the target of cost for migrant remittances, and yes, that's it. Okay, so that's why, for example, we're so successful in Venezuela, you know. So next slide, please. Now I'd like to share with you our experience of the main challenges we are tackling at the financial empowerment programs, trying to give truly universal access to DeFi. So the first 2 barriers to DeFi are quite obvious, but they are the access to internet and the access to adequate technical equipment. For that, we're working with social partners and microcredit institutions to solve these aspects. The next barrier are actually the existing DeFi solutions. They're not always adapted to our specific users. They're usually too complex. They're in English, and our populations are not always English fluent. They're very directed to crypto holders, very techy, and the security protocols are complicated at least for undereducated and under-equipped people, you know. So we work with our partners to adapt or to build other solutions, and we help them understand the value of these populations, because we want our partners to think, to have a business mindset, to build sustainable business models and maintain the solutions in time. So at all levels, another barrier is always education, of course, technical and financial education. That's why we always look for solutions with an embedded educative path. Now, having access to DeFi solutions, or at least at the beginning to loans, gives the opportunity to start and build a sovereign identity and reputation, so vulnerable populations start to exist in the financial system. Our solutions solve portability. Nevertheless, this reputation needs to be useful, to be recognized by other organizations, other users, other institutions. That's why we work closely with governments to adopt decentralized identity solutions. And we also work, with financial institutions to discuss acceptance criteria for the decentralized scoring. We have other challenges related to user experience, but they will be solved in time, of course, because we work very closely with field organizations, experts in financial inclusion, that give us feedback on to build a very strong and useful user experience. Our major concern is the bridging between traditional and the new economy. And we really expect regulations not to slow, but to release the potential of this new economy. Since many actors are very interested, but they do not dare yet to use all the possibilities of DeFi, not knowing if they are respecting the law or not. So our last line of work is to find new income models thanks to the new potential of programmable money, and build fully transparent platforms for investments, donations, for impact projects. Last slide, please. So to conclude, my main message would be, let's try and observe that regulations are on their way anyway, and I truly hope they will be global. And I think we need a curious and open mindset to discover what happens when all human beings are given the access to an open, decentralized financial system. It's scary. I mean, this intermediation is scary, but we already lived with the internet. You know, it was very scary to open and share information, and nobody died, or at least some died, and others were born. And 20 years after or so, the world is actually better informed, and it's easier to share information. Does it mean that all the information is good, relevant? No, but at least everybody has access. So I think financial institutions and experts will be very needed in this flourishing jungle, and it's a jungle. I mean, there are apps everywhere, there are blockchains everywhere. And I think the actual experts will be needed for people to find their ways in this new world. So last, sorry, to tell you that the financial empowerment team at IOV Labs works on bridging the gaps between experienced financial inclusion field organizations, DeFi solution providers, education content writers, governments and financial institutions, impact investors and donors, and please contact us and help us build this amazing new global economy. Thank you.